So I feel like maybe a bit more background of how addiction affected me and where it began may help you understand about how far it took me down and what I had to actually overcome. So throughout my childhood, I had these constant fears and thoughts and was always so concerned about what other people were thinking, if I was good enough, if I was doing the right thing, if I was gonna fit in on any single day and moment. And I think I was in grade 6, 12 years old roughly. Alcohol was introduced to my life. And those fears and anxieties just disappeared and gone. And I was goofy and I was joking around. I finally felt like I fit in. And that even at that age, that became a routine. And for a short-term period in high school, I had strayed away from that. And then in the later years of high school, there was some things at home going on. And of course, just the pressures of high school and being a teenager, it became present again. And that's when it really started to take a hold. It was like anything that was an issue, anything that was going on, all these fears and anxieties, I finally was just like, this is the healing mechanism. This is what makes me feel good. This is how I'm get through this. So it became a lot more frequent, weekends throughout the week. And then going on out of school and getting my first job, and now having the money to do things, and what everyone seems to be doing is drinking and having a good time. So I started doing that all the time. Anytime there was a party, anytime there was somewhere to drink, I was there. And it just became such a big habit and like a lifestyle. I thought I was living the dream at that point. I wasn't, the hangovers were bad, rough days at work, but if that was all gonna disappear at 9 o'clock when I got off and I could have that first can. And I didn't see that as a problem at all. I didn't really see what other people were seeing. And a lot of other people didn't see it as that big of a deal because they only seen it one night and they're like, oh, you had a good time. But really, when I wake up the next day, all those feelings are back. And I'm questioning, oh, what did I do last night? Did I say something wrong? Did I offend people? And it was just a constant bad routine, but I could keep covering it up by repeating that process. I was never facing anything. I was never actually healing any emotions or anything I ever was running into. I just mask it and move on, move on. And even at that point in my life, I never thought I would do drugs. I never thought I was like, that's not for me. But as time progresses and alcohol is slowly not doing what it was doing for me before, I make poor decisions to try and chase away these feelings. And all of a sudden someone's like, oh, you want this? And at a state of not caring anymore, whatever it is that can just get rid of this feeling that quick, yeah, I'll do it. And I slowly started to dabble. And then I found cocaine. And that hit me. It was an instant, and everything was okay. And then now that became, I could drink even more. I felt even better. And I could talk about all these things that maybe I couldn't talk about before. And people were more open to talk when using that substance. So I thought the people I was around were like my family at that point. And I really, I just really wanted to have that feeling like I belonged somewhere and I fit in. And I just didn't want to hurt inside, and all these weird feelings I had. So that kind of like a little bit of weekend warrior turns into a routine, and I slowly start to lose control. And I knew I had a problem for probably the last 4 years of the whole process. And I tried a little bit with getting rid of the drug factor, but then I would just drink more and more, and I didn't see that as long as I wasn't using drugs, I thought drinking was okay, and I didn't see how I was affecting other people. I knew I had a problem. Like, I'm drinking on the way home from work. I knew it was a problem. But because drinking was so socially acceptable, I thought it was okay. Anywhere I could go, I could have a drink in my hand and people weren't offended by it. And then more life events happen, and I was struggling inside and didn't know what to do, and I went right back to drugs, and I went in hard. And it took everything over. It was a daily process of using to hide the feelings, to feel loved. And I just got deeper and deeper, and when my friends started to see that it was an issue and like talking about it a bit, but not really knowing what to do, I ended up just moving to different friend groups. You go lower and lower into this dark place and doing things you would never see yourself doing because you just want to fit in, and you can't stop. Once I started, I could not stop. And I'm talking days on end. I'd be sitting alone just using, waiting for like the next event to go on or whatever had to happen. Everyone else was going home and sleeping and then coming back out the next night. I was just continuing and going from place to place. And it just brings you to a dark place where you would never... The things I did and seen, from selling drugs to being shot at to like just poor decisions that should never happen, but once you're in those situations and you feel like you can't get out, I felt like no one was ever gonna want me to be around them anymore because of everything I had done and been involved with. And I really just didn't like myself. And by the depth that I did not like myself at that point, I wanted to give up. I was done. Like, I wanted the drugs to kill me so bad. I would use and use, like hoping it would just fucking stop. And it wouldn't happen, and I'd have to fucking repeat the whole process over again. And I'd try to stop, and I'd make it for a few days, a few weeks, and you'd think things are getting better, and then you'd go back out with that friend group trying to say like, I'm doing so much better. And then 3 days later, I haven't slept. I've spent everything I had. And I'm the loneliest I've ever been. And I'm just sitting there like wondering, why does this keep happening? Like, why can't I beat this? Like, this is gonna be me till I die. I honestly thought that. And it took to the point of being so alone and so sick of just hurting all the time and like really wanting the people I cared about to be in my life and finally trying to move back in their lives, that it came to the point I was like ready. I was ready to make a change. And I didn't know how, I didn't know what, and rehab was the thing that was in my head. Like, you haven't tried that. If that doesn't work, then fuck it. But at least try it. And I tried it, and I wasn't perfect. I ended up relapsing after. I'd go on these 5 days sober, and then I'd go on 3-day binges. And then there was a couple weeks I disappeared. My family doesn't know where I am, and I'm breaking their hearts, and it's breaking mine that I'm letting everyone down. But I didn't want to face it. I didn't want, because I'm so embarrassed of myself. People think that you're out having a good time, but I was never having a good time. I was constantly regretting what I was doing and just couldn't stop. And it's so powerless, the feeling. It's so empty inside. And you just don't think it's ever gonna end. And that's where it leads to making the decisions I did. And by taking control and feeling like I actually had control, that's what made the difference. And all of a sudden, instead of like hoping I get this, I knew I had this. And I knew I could do this. And now my goal is one, to just set that standard for myself of where I want to go and what I want to do with my life. And like, by showing people that this is possible, no matter how far down you go into this. Look, I can't say things on camera that have happened. It was bad. Like, I was 130 pounds. Like, I'm still skinny now. Imagine there being 50 pounds less. Like, I was a dead man walking for a long time. I was dead inside. The only thing that was left was a moving body. There was almost no soul left. But I still had something left to do in this world, and I'm gonna make a difference, hopefully. And hopefully I can help, even if I help one other person make the decision in their life to take a hold of it, then it's all worth it. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate it. It's also a part of my healing, is sharing my story and hearing feedback from others of theirs, or what has happened in their lives. That's what makes this all worth it. So please subscribe, come along for the journey, share your story if you want to. But yeah, let's just keep making steps forward so we can be here for tomorrow. And yeah.